Morning, juniors. This is the review for Quiz 2 on Tuesday. Two things. I have decided not to include the material from Friday, so the material on signs and such will not be part of this quiz. Also, there are two things on this quiz that I did cover, but I'm going to be very explicit in maybe emphasizing something I didn't emphasize as much in class. And if you're listening to this, it's going to give you the edge. All right? So anyway, here we go. First off, know what is the beginning of the liturgical year, and understand that the liturgical year has a beginning different than that of our calendar year. Also, liturgy is a prayer, and there are a lot of good personal prayers. But are they all equal in God's eyes? Think back to the story I spoke about concerning Abel and Cain and the very limited amount of information we have about them and why they sacrificed, but at least what we can understand is that somehow sacrifice does matter. The type of sacrifice God preferred Abel's over Cain's. The book of Revelation, remember how I said that is a liturgical book, all right? It's not some code book that predicts the end times. And liturgy is not the first encounter that we have with Christ. So there were three things that preceded up to that. Make sure that you at least know it is not the first encounter and be able to recognize those three things. One of the liturgical terms I taught you is anamnesis. Know that that is a making present. It's not some reenactment, and it's certainly not just a mental recollection. I talked a little bit about the liturgy of the Hebrews prior to the Christian era. So there was before exile, during exile, and after exile. So there was development. Make sure you recognize and remember that there was development. The sensus fidei. I talked about that not being a popular vote, and it was also on your, I believe, the note verification quiz. But what I'd like you to know, and this is the little tidbit you'll get by watching this, is that it's a spiritual instinct that we have. Make sure you know that. Also know why the Israelites did not sacrifice while they were in exile. Okay, if they sacrificed before exile and after exile, it was because of something particular that they had available to them. The liturgical seasons, you should know, are highest holy days. What is the liturgical season between Holy Thursday, the celebration of the Mass of the Lord's Supper, and Easter Sunday? And again, be familiar with what liturgical term, which I already spoke about just minutes ago, represents making present. And I said that there were various roles that we receive in baptism: priest, prophet, and king. Make sure you know what those line up with. For instance, which one lines up with us proclaiming the gospel. Let's see. The foundations of prayer. Those were on your note verification quizzes. You should know something about those. And finally, throughout the matching, make sure you know what the definition I gave of active participation, be able to recognize it, and what the definition for faith was, and that which one of those baptismal identities that I already spoke about, priest, prophet, and king, which one lines up with charity and the mission of Christ. Know the definition of sacrifice. Again, not that you need to memorize it, but you will need to recognize these things. The different types of prayer. Which one did we say we acknowledge that man is dependent on God? Another one that recognizes all the good things God has done for us. And one of the other liturgical terms I gave you, not anamnesis, but epiclesis. Understand what that does. And also, as far as prayer, which prayer represents when we ask, we plead, we cry out, we beg. Okay? So there's 23 questions on this. You get 2 freebies. Do well. There's 1 or 2 little tidbits in there that if you listen to this review, you're going to get it. Okay? God bless you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Sunday.